Hello, everyone. Let's have more news about the Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Jonathan Kuminga suffered a lot last year due to the Golden State Warriors center position. His playing time and playing style were deeply affected because of spacing issues. Head coach Steve Kerr has been cognizant of that since last season, but there was nothing the Warriors head coach could do to help Kuminga. The lineups were not fit for the power forward to showcase his full abilities since the paint was mostly clogged due to Draymond Green and Kevin Looney's lack of a shooting threat. This season, though, things have slightly changed, and the Warriors have signed a true stretch five who could make things better for Kuminga. Talking to Tim Kawakami on the TK show, Kerr went in depth on Kuminga's fit around the 20-minute mark. I mean, that's part of the reason that JK hasn't played as much as he has wanted to, because it's been tougher to find, a lot of combinations that click. And, because of the idea that you need shooting in the modern NBA, a space five could be something that really helps him, Kerr said. The Warriors struggled to put Kuminga with anyone last year. They did have 7 feet tall Quinton Post as an option, but his defense and maturity weren't quite there yet. Kuminga will have the benefit of Al Horford, giving him the space needed in the paint to drive to the basket and make the plays that he's the most efficient at. Last year, Kuminga posted 15.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 2.1 assists on average through 47 games, where he got to play 24.3 minutes per game. Due to the injury and the inability to find a fit, he shot 45.4% from the field and only 30.5% from the three-point line. Whereas if you look at the 2023-24 season, he shot 52.9% from the field and 32.1% from deep, which means his performance saw a massive dip last season. On the other hand, Al Horford averaged 9.0 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 2.2 assists. He also shot 36.3% from the three-point line last season. It is exceptional for a big man, since that makes him a real threat on the court, not just theoretically. Horford also averaged 5.2 three-point attempts every game, which means he will be able to stand at the perimeter and demand a defensive posting, which in turn clears the paint area for Kuminga. This inside-outside combination could be a key threat for the Warriors' opponents. According to Kerr, his best game comes out with Stephen Curry and Brandon Podziemski. But outside these two, there aren't many two-man or three-man combos that fit well with Kuminga, and these two players, as well, Kerr revealed, can fit in with anyone, so it's not like it helped Kuminga's case last year. Throughout this offseason, tensions had been running high between the two parties. Still, it appears that the contract extension has resolved any existing issues, and the Warriors are now ready to move ahead together. After a rigorous and public holdout over his contract negotiations, Kuminga was finally able to reach a respectable extension of $48.5 million. With the ugly negotiations behind him, Kuminga is looking towards the future and happily training with the Warriors again. Happiness, joy, peace. I saw Kuminga dance after the game. He told me he was at peace. I think the guys, Steph, Draymond, Jimmy, and Buddy Hield played a good role in giving him support. At Golden State, he says, I'm committed here, and I want to win a championship here. So it didn't sound like somebody who's trying to force his way out. Insider Mark Spears revealed, it has been a roller coaster ride for the 23-year-old power forward and the Golden State Warriors, but now that things have settled down and the roster is somewhat ready, they face a new challenge of making it work. Head coach Steve Kerr is one of the few people who can actually get it done. Now let's go to another video. Don't forget to leave a like.
Saw all the Warriors out there. I mean,
Yeah.
I saw the main guys playing and taking this seriously. And I think that's huge for them because when Jimmy Butler was acquired at the trade deadline, they were really good when he was on the court together with Steph Curry. And then he gets hurt, Steph gets hurt, and we didn't really get to see them finish off last season together as a healthy unit. And it's important to me that they are taking the preseason seriously, trying to get minutes on the court together, trying to figure out how they play off of each other. And I mean, the Lakers weren't really playing their two main guys here, and so it's hard to judge their performance. But the Warriors want to come out of the gates fast here, you can tell.
Yeah, and they're deep. I talked about that with Steve Kerr last night. They feel good about their roster right now. Maybe there'll be some stuff they have to figure out from 9 to 11. But last year they went into the season, Mark, having to figure out like 6 different things. Yeah. But Jonathan Kuminga is one of those things they'll have to figure out a role for. He signs his contract. Stalemate is over.
Yeah.
What do you see from him?
Happiness, joy, peace, which is surprising. I mean, I've been around a while. I remember seeing Iverson being unhappy in Memphis, if you remember that. And
don't go too far. Jimmy Butler. We were just talking about it, right?
Steven Jackson wanting out in Golden State. Kevin Durant not being happy. But I saw Kuminga dancing after the game, and he told me he was at peace. I think the guys, Steph, Draymond, Jimmy, and Buddy Hield played a good role in, giving him support. And I think that helped him a lot. He comes from a family from Congo that he said they never were a stressful family. That's not his DNA. And regardless of whether he's at Golden State or somewhere else, he feels like he's going to figure it out. But at Golden State, he's like, I'm committed here, and I want to win a championship here.
Yeah.
So it didn't sound like somebody who was trying to force his way out.
I'm curious to see, though, if he does the little things. A couple years ago, he was starting to do that. Remember, we had this big to-do about him and Steve.
He did say it was important for him to be very good on both sides of the court.
Yeah, I would agree that definitely is important for them. I mean, this is a guy who's got 30-point potential. Yeah. We saw that in the games that Steph wasn't around after he went down due to injury. But a couple years ago, after the big to-do with him and Steve Kerr, they had this come to Jesus meeting or whatever, and he started doing the little things, and he could fall into 14, 15 points a game, Bobby. So what do you think can carry over with this group here moving forward in the regular season?
Well, I mean, I think when you look at the regular season, and we're going to go over to the touchscreen, if you're Mike Dunleavy Jr., their general manager, you're feeling pretty good this morning as far as where this roster was. And we didn't even see Al Horford last night in that starting role there for them. There was certainly a lot of different matchups. This is their depth when you look at it with Gary Payton the second and Al Horford and Seth Curry and Jonathan Kuminga. Yeah. That's not their starting lineup with Steph Curry and Moses Moody. And here's some of the questions that we went into the offseason with. How can they get some size at 5? We heard Steve Kerr talking about how we're not going to see Draymond Green as much at the 5. Now you add Al Horford to the mix. A mobile rim protector here. Certainly Horford. Front court depth. You sign Jonathan Kuminga in the offseason here. Defensive mind reserve guards. Gary Payton is back. I think the biggest question, can you confine that consistent third scorer? That plagued them a little bit during the postseason here. You have Steph Curry. You have Jimmy Butler to this roster. Buddy Hield is back. We brought back DeAnthony Melton, who's going to be out 4 weeks here. But they've addressed a lot of things that we were questioning in the offseason. And you saw, at least in those first 2 quarters last night, this Golden State team with Steph Curry on the court could be dangerous here.
Well, and the Jimmy thing is interesting because it allows them to get set on defense, which is important because he gets to the line. He doesn't turn the ball over. I think all those things are important. Speaking of important, the King has put out something on his social media about the decision of all decisions coming tomorrow at noon Eastern. Ramona, anything to this?
We all obviously saw this and thought, whoa, is he announcing something? And I don't know that we should get all that worked up about it. Just from those first
vibes
call, vibes, text, whatever. It doesn't sound like it. Yeah, something like that. It doesn't sound like it's something to get all that worked up about. He did this earlier in the summer and it ended up being an ad, so we'll see what this is tomorrow.
Okay, fair enough.
Whatever.
Not a farewell.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see what it is tomorrow anyway.
I'm really just showing the team I can be a good rim protector for them, anchoring the defense, and just having a good communicative terminology to my guys, and just being their backbone out there.
How has the assimilation process been for you in just your second preseason game and a little bit of camp with the Lakers?
I mean, it's been fun. Just running out, having a terminology where Jay just letting us go out there and just play hard. Be physical and just get our tails in shape.
DeAndre, good luck. Thanks for the time.
Thank you so much.
Now, it's interesting, Bobby. You started to address it earlier when we saw the highlights. JJ told us yesterday he wants them to play with force and physicality. That's what they're working on right now, specifically in the preseason. But how did Ayton look like? What did Ayton look like to you?
You saw a little bit of a glimpse last night, and this was out without Luka in the game as far as the ability to roll to the rim. We saw him certainly a couple alley-oops here. I think it's going to be interesting when Luka is out there with him, ability to set him up, pick and roll. But there were glimpses last night as far as how effective DeAndre Ayton could be without a Luka Doncic on the court.
He's one of the best pick and roll guys in the NBA. He's also had some up and downs in his career, as you can attest to. But this is different. This ain't Phoenix. This ain't Portland. This spotlight, I think, is going to bring the best out of him, and it has to bring the best out of him. If he's going to get the easiest shots of his career, he's going to play with 2 of the best players in the history of the world. They're going to make him better every day. And if he brings that talent that he has, he could be an X factor for something special in LA.
Every interview I've heard him give so far this year has been him embracing his role. Like, he seems to understand that this is what the Lakers need him for, rim protection and being a lob threat. And if he's good with that, if he's bought into that, I think that's exactly what the Lakers are looking for out of DeAndre Ayton. But if he's trying to score more or prove himself that he can be a dominant post or whatever it is, then that's not going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of it is, people have questioned his desire, and we'll see if that comes to fruition here in a positive way for the Lakers. Nikola Jokic took on a familiar foe in Rudy Gobert this weekend. There's the Joker. Things get testy early here, Mark.
Oh, that European battle right there, man.
I mean, he caught,
but neither one of them
something right
fight.
to the chin.
Nah, they're good.
Yeah,
they're good. A minute later, though, Joker gets back to doing Joker things as he finds new teammate Cam Johnson for the layup.
What a great pickup.
Then later in the first, Nuggets, you'll see here, nearly turn it over. Their possession seems to stall out. Check out Anthony Edwards here on the bench letting the Nuggets hear it. But Bruce Brown says, not so fast, my friend. Wide open for this three. Brown gets that one after the game. He was asked what it was like to hear his name announced for the first time. His response? Go hear it yourself.
I'm going to be honest. I did not hear it. I was too busy talking to Ant. So I was too busy talking stuff to the Timberwolves bench, so I didn't even know what he said. I was out of it.
All right, look who's back in Charlotte. LaMelo Ball on the court for the first time since March. Hornets hosting the Thunder. Defending champs. Well, the backups at least are out there at the moment. Brandon Miller gets the steal and the slam on the other end.
I look forward to seeing him back, too.
It's all about availability with these guys.
Second quarter, LaMelo, one-legged three.
There is not a shot out there that he won't take.
Next possession.
And one mixtape.
Here's another one.
And one mixtape.
Step back, one-legged jumper.
How many three-point lines are out there?
Yes, sir.
What are we playing on?
High school, college.
And then in the third, Aaron Wiggins takes over here. Three ball is good. Wiggins game high 23. Thunder roll 135 to 114. And it feels like the Hornets will have a lot of headaches this year.
Oh, I see.
yeah.
The Thunder won by 21 despite sitting 10 players, including SGA, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren. Aaron Wiggins, center Jalen Williams, and Isaiah Joe were the only title team rotation members who played. OKC is scary no matter what, obviously, at this point, no matter who's on the floor. So, Mark, let's talk about the West here and who can contend against them. Did the Nuggets do enough to compete with the Thunder?
Yes, they do. They took them to a Game 7 without this team, which is a better team and perhaps even better on paper than the one that won a championship. You got Cam Johnson, Valanciunas, which I think people are sleeping on that pick.
It's a nice backup center for sure.
And also could drop Joker's minutes down a little bit. Tim Hardaway Jr. and Bruce Brown, who I talked to recently in Denver, super excited to be back and get his cowboy boot game on again. Look, losing Michael Porter Jr. is huge, but they got more depth, more maturity. The younger guys, they're scary. I think they're the biggest threat.
One player who's the X factor, and it's a player that's been there at least through the championship, is Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
When we looked at what happened with Jamal Murray last year, coming off the Olympics, he wasn't healthy to start the regular season here. Now he's healthy, he's in shape. He's your X factor as far as where this Denver team goes. They did a great job this offseason adding the veterans to that young bench here, but Murray is going to be an important piece.
Let me ask you this. Is Murray the new Mike Conley? Right? Where, remember for years we'd say, like, Mike Conley's the best player to not be an all-star, and Mike Conley is the best point guard we never talk about. Is Jamal Murray that guy now?
He could be. I mean, because it's hard in the West with the guards that are out in the West. Like, every year making that all-star team is going to be hard. And I also think Jamal tends to start slow. Like, he's a guy that the second half of he'll get criticized in the beginning part of the year, and then he plays his way into shape, and then he's great, and he's really there in the playoffs. But to me, like with Denver, they went a different direction. They obviously traded the big trade we talk about is Michael Porter Jr., but they got older. They got depth. And all last year we were knocking them for playing the young guys, and they don't have enough depth on that bench. There's a lot more depth there, but they also got older. And I think that's the right move because I covered that series with you, Mark. We were at a lot of those games. That was a close series. And if Aaron Gordon didn't get hurt, I don't know who wins that series. Yeah. But they ran out of gas. Like those Denver Nuggets were a championship team that ran out of gas, and they obviously needed to bring in some
Their
reinforcements.
problem.
We have some unfortunate news in the Western Conference out of Grizzlies camp. Star guard Ja Morant suffered a sprained ankle at a practice on Sunday and is now considered week to week. Ja has only played in 59 games over the last 2 seasons with various injuries and suspensions. The two-time All-Star averaged 23 points and 7 assists per game last season for Memphis. Morant is not the only Grizzly out of action at the moment. Jaren Jackson Jr. is recovering from a turf toe surgery that the team announced back in July with a 12-week reevaluation. And Zach Edey is working his way back from ankle surgery. And Brandon Clark as well, also.
The question hovering over the Golden State Warriors is how long Jonathan Kuminga will remain a part of their roster after recently re-signing with the team. According to a report from a prominent NBA insider, that tenure may be shorter than fans hoped. Jake Fisher, a well-known voice in basketball circles, has indicated that the Warriors are poised to make Kuminga available on the trade market as soon as he becomes eligible for a deal on January 15th. Fisher pointed out that the organization is keen to explore potential returns for the talented 22-year-old forward before the trade deadline on February 5th. The landscape is shifting, and the team's willingness to entertain offers for Kuminga signifies a strategic approach as they assess their roster dynamics. The mounting expectation as a result is that the Warriors will make Kuminga available in the trade market, Fisher noted. How Kuminga fits with the Jimmy Butler-era Warriors will thus be one of the key storylines to track through the season's first few months. This statement underscores the uncertainty surrounding Kuminga's role within a team that is evolving with new leadership and expectations. The relationship between the Warriors and Kuminga appears to be under strain following protracted negotiations over his contract. Fisher highlighted that this tension could affect how the coaching staff, particularly head coach Steve Kerr, utilizes him throughout the season. If Kuminga struggles to carve out a consistent role, as he has in previous seasons, he may find himself at the center of trade discussions leading up to the deadline. As the season unfolds, the Warriors' decisions regarding Kuminga could have significant implications not only for the player himself, but also for the team's overall trajectory. With a mix of anticipation and uncertainty surrounding his future, Kuminga's performance in the early months will be critical in determining whether he remains a Warrior or becomes a pivotal piece in a trade deal. And you, fan, what do you think about Jonathan Kuminga's situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.